Thank you for tuning in to the best parenting show on the internet, Post Daily Dose.
It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post.
Hey there, Post+Institute. This is Kristi, Saul, the co-founder, coming at you live with another episode, of Post Daily Dose. I just got a splinter on my leg. I'm not going to sit down because, ouch, 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 ouch. So, yeah, I just got a little splinter live and in action. And I'm sorry I'm late today. After work, I took a little drive with my child, and we came over and purchased a sewing machine, because now they make sewing machines where you don't have to use your feet, and we didn't know that, and so she's been wanting one for a long time, and so pretty excited that technology is making it possible for someone who does not have use of their functional use, I guess that's the right term, functional use of her legs, for her to be able to sew. So that's pretty exciting. So I apologize that I'm running a little bit late, but somebody had written in a question through Facebook Messenger, and so it just made for perfect timing. And the question had to do with medication, and I thought, man, how perfect! What a great thing for us to talk about, because it also came up in one of the support groups that I operate. One of the parents was talking a little bit about that, and I know a lot of people talking about that topic, so let's just talk about it a little bit. Medication, when it comes to medication. Hey, Carrie, we're on time together today, so it's awesome to see you. I know a lot of times you're having to watch the replay. You probably have something going on around that time, so it's good to see you. And I see Dawn's watching. I see Joni was watching. I know a few other people are watching. It's good to have you guys here. And again, I'm sorry I'm running a little bit late, but better late than never. So, medication. Most medications with relationship to mental health and medications to help children, usually we're looking for medications to help them feel better. We're looking for medications to help manage the behaviors. So if behavior is communication and we don't have the behavior, we might miss something. So there's that thing to think about, right? If behavior is communication, and the only way that this pain, these traumas get communicated is through a behavior, a reaction. If there's a medication that's preventing the behavior because of how it's working in the brain, then we might miss something that we really need to know about our child. We really need to know about a person in our life. So there's that to think about. Many medications, especially psychotropic medications, have not been thoroughly tested on children. So there's that to consider. Many medications, especially psychotropic medications, have a whole slew of side effects. I know I'm thinking back to times when I had adolescents in my life who were prescribed psychotropic medications, and you can think of one young lady who within a very short period of time gained about 40 pounds because of the medicine that she was on, and it caused her hair to fall out. And she was 17 years old, and that was really a difficult thing to go through as a 17-year-old. Medications, the intent is to suppress. Well, what they do is they don't heal, so they're not healing what's going on, but they are suppressing. So it suppresses the behavior. So to medicate or not to medicate, that is the question. And it's a tough question. So there's important questions for you to ask yourself as you make the decision, because it's only a decision that you and your family can make. I will also say that I have been known to say somebody around here needs a Valium, but it may be me. So sometimes it may be that, just because our child is the person who is demonstrating a behavior or whose behavior is agitating, is it because that behavior is really so difficult or so inappropriate, or is it because I'm really sensitive and I'm stress sensitive and I can't deal with it? How many times is medication being recommended because a child isn't able to maintain in a classroom where there's 35 kids and one student? We just have to, it's a big question. It's a big question. And yeah, you got to do your research. You got to do a lot of research. So, I'm not the one to say, well, you know me, I'm online all the time and I'll read and look. So I encourage you to do your research. Just because the doctor hands you a pill doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be the best solution for your child. At the same time, I have a child who has complex health issues. In fact, at one point, borderline, my mind just went blank. Borderline diabetic. We were able to reverse that. We were able to get her blood sugar stabilized by changing some things in her diet and by using some supplements. So specifically, alpha-lipolic acid is a liver supplement that in some countries they use to help reverse diabetes. And so when I found that out and I read that and I read 20 articles about it, then I was like, okay, well, let's try this. I'd much rather try that than this. At the same time, I have one mom who was talking about her son now being on medication for the first time. He's about 11 years old and he likes it. He likes being on the medicine. It helps him be able to do the things he wants to do with his peers. So how could you deny that, right? How could you say, well, you can't take it because somebody says I shouldn't give you medicine? How could you deny something that a child's telling you is helping them? And so it's a complex question. It's a complex question. In most solutions, most families that I talk to, they try medication and most of them say that they are not seeing that great of a difference to make the side effects worth it. So there's that, there's that piece. So, it's, I know that several families use supplements. I've talked about, the company that I've looked at and that I've been using for my own family. That, there's several companies out there that you can find online. All you have to do is Google. I'm trying to think how I looked for it. I looked for different ones just so I knew what all was out there. Was to Google testing for depression and anxiety through urine, because that's what they do, because all of your serotonin and GABA and glutamine and other things filter through your kidneys and can be tested through your urine. They can do tests that will let you know how different neurotransmitters and hormones, how they're doing, and then you can make decisions from that. Here's where I get worried, and I'll just be straight up honest with you. I get worried when somebody goes to a doctor's office, could be a general physician, might be a psychiatrist. I had a college professor who put it like this: when you look at the DSM, you look at the diagnostic manual, those statements about something that gets diagnosed in a child are all statements made by the adult world. So then you're taking a child to a doctor and the doctor's listening to what the adults are saying. And we got to be honest with ourselves. And we're not always honest with ourselves, right? I mean, so it's complex. I'm just going to sit here. This would be like if I'm just brainstorming, if I'm just sitting on the porch and I'm talking to a friend who asked me that question, these are the things I would say. It's not just easy breezy. It's not just cut and dry. And then a lot of times once you get into it, it's tweaking this, it's tweaking that. It's like, oh, so you need your antidepressant isn't working, so you need this little antidepressant booster, and then the next thing you know, you're on, as Brian says, 4 to 5 to 6 different medications. So to medicate or not medicate, that's the question. And I've not researched what's out, in the last 5 or so years in terms of psychotropic medications. So there may be new things. I'm not saying don't try it. I'm not convinced. I've not seen enough evidence to be convinced that it's going to be the end-all be-all for everything. It's not like you're just going to be able to give somebody a pill and you're not going to have to parent a child who has trauma. The trauma's still there. The trauma's still there. The impact is still there. Can it help some people function in a way that helps them feel better? Yes. Yes, it can. So it's not for me to make a decision. It's not even for me to make a recommendation. And there's probably some things I even missed in my brainstorming. You know, if I was sitting on Zoom with somebody and we were talking this out, they probably have, what about this? What about that? What about, instead of looking at medication as a first line answer, why not look at it as, okay, so if we look at, do we need to change anything in their diet? Do we need to cut out red? Do we need to cut out some sugar? Do we need to cut out this? Do we need to cut out that? How is our scheduling? Are they overscheduled? Are they underscheduled? How are they doing with the things that we have them being asked to do? Do we need to make changes there? Do we need to make changes in our parenting approach? Do I need to make some changes so that I'm able to meet my child's needs? Am I doing enough time in? Am I flipping my lid? Maybe I'm the one who needs to be on something, so I'm not flipping my lid all the time. I, in fact, had a mom do that. I, in fact, had a mom who said, that is such an interesting thought, that maybe my anxiety is contributing to the anxiety that my kids are having. So she actually went and got a prescription of, is it Ativan? I can't remember. It's a anti-anxiety medication. It only lasts in your system for a couple of hours. So she got a prescription of that and she took it. And lo and behold, she said, I had no idea how much my anxiety was affecting my children. Now, I'm choosing not to continue with the medicine, but using the medicine gave me the insight that yes, in fact, my anxiety is creating a lot of anxiety and stress for my family. So I'm going to work on that in other holistic ways. And now that I'm aware. Now that I know what I know, now I know. So there's a lot of comments. So I'm going to read through. Annalisa says, we've done everything to avoid going on psychotropic meds to keep her safe. Where there is a risk, there must be a choice. Absolutely. What about DNA testing? I've asked about that. I don't know so much about DNA testing, and I did get sidetracked actually mid-thought while I was talking. Here's one of the things that gripes me. Okay, so you go into the doctor's office, and when the doctor is listening to the parent or adults or teachers, those reports about this child. And so everything that the doctor's getting is coming from the lens of the adult world. And that is important. Because is it because I'm stressed? Maybe I'm the one who's trying to do too much. And if I wasn't trying to do so much, then maybe I would have more patience, more tolerance, more time, more understanding for my child. And the other part about that gripes me is when we're not doing any testing. Psychiatrists aren't doing any, there's a big truck driving through the parking lot. They're not doing a urine test to see what levels of serotonin and GABA and glutamine might be. They're not using labs. They're not doing labs to see where are we, what's our starting point. And so that really concerns me. So then it's just like, okay, well here, we'll just start with this dose. And if this dose doesn't work, then let me know in a week or two and we'll change the dose. And then it's just like all this, just like throwing darts, and I'm not hitting the bullseye, so I'm just going to keep throwing darts at it till I finally maybe come across the magic formula. And then just when I hit the magic formula, my child goes through a growth spurt or a hormone change because they're in flux. And so then what? We're just on and on and on. So it's I'm telling you, it's a big deal. It's a lot to ask. It's a big question to ask. I don't know about DNA testing, Annalisa, so I can't really speak to that. The only testing I'm aware of is knowing that in the adult world of certain psychotropic medications that they use blood labs to make sure there's not toxicity. That's a real thing. And I also know that there can be testing done with urine. Caitlin said it really helped my guy with his self-esteem. Excellent. I'm glad. I'm so glad. I'm a big supporter of medicating, but medicating with a plan, figuring out the sweet spot where you get maximum benefit with minimal side effects. When I worked in juvenile system for boys home, I was at a great job listening to the boys and tracking everything to find optimal quality of life and minimal medications. I know when we operated the group home, obviously several of those young men came in with medications. Some of them wanted to continue, and some of them wanted to get off of the medications because they felt like it made them feel drugged. And so for people who wanted to get off the medications, we were able to do that, and we were able to maintain them in the community, in a home that was family-like. I mean, I know we had staff and we had fresh people in every 12 hours, and that makes a big difference because now I have fresh adults being able to be adults, and that's a big deal. See, that's the thing. I just keep coming back to that, don't I? That's a really big thing. So, let's see. I've called my doctor to up mine and still no effect. We had our daughter speak to our daughter before adding a mild anti-anxiety MES before bed. Psychologist and GP communicated. So what I hear you guys saying is that you're thinking about it, you're talking to your children about it, you're talking to their therapists about it, and that's good, but you also need to get online and look for medical journals. It's not that difficult to find medical level journals. I know it can be hard, but even if you just read the side effects, you know, that printout sheet that you get when you get your medicine filled, read the side effects. And if there are other health issues, you know, if there's any history of kidney issues or any history of liver issues or, you know, any of those kinds of things, then you definitely want to be mindful and aware because everything is filtered through the kidneys and through the liver. So preserving those organs for the lifespan, because that is such a big deal, So I didn't come on tonight to give you an answer, but to throw out a lot of things for you all to think about. And so it's certainly a decision I think that many, many families are up against and asking themselves. And so hopefully maybe you guys can make a little list of things, you know, a list of things that I said and other things that you think about as you are trying to make that decision. Talk with your spouse about it. Talk with your child about it. If they're of an age to be able to have the conversation, I think it's ultimately important, ultimately respectful that you be including them in that. And remember that many of the things that we're looking at using medication to help with, before we had psychotropic medications, those things were managed with diet, amino acids, and supplements of various types. And so doing that piece of research as well, understanding that you can take GABA, there's oral liquid, sublingual under the tongue, forms of GABA, 5-HTP, glutamine, there's medications, supplements that you can take to help clean up your gut, because your serotonin is created in your gut, and so you got to be able to understand that how the body's functioning all together, and then look at whether or not you want to go a medical pharmaceutical route or whether or not there might be supplements to try first. So I'm always one of those, you know, the least invasive we can go first and give it 4 to 6 weeks to see if you're seeing any benefits, and then make changes from there. And so I hope there's something in that. I see so many comments, and I want to tell you guys how much I appreciate your knowledge. I appreciate when we share experiences. It can help us all so much. It can help us all grow and learn and kind of weigh things out for ourselves and try to decide what's going to be the best pathway for us to take. So one thing that we do know, one thing that everybody has been in agreement on, and that is that one very clear pathway for helping to create changes in our mind-body system is relationship. relationship is a pathway for healing. Safe, loving relationship over time creates changes in the brain level. So if you've not already done so today, you press pause on everything. Everything, like literally everything. Put your phone down. Just put it in a drawer. Leave it where you can't even get to it. Go give yourself 5 or 10 minutes. Get your heart in that position. And remember what we came into this for. We came into this because we had love to share with a child that you felt like needed it. And that love has great healing properties. So you press pause on everything, put your phone away, and go give them your undivided attention, 100% of your heart. Pour love into them. 30 minutes to an hour. Let them lead. Let them create. Let them tell you what to play in the pretend game. Go shoot some hoops. Go play some catch. Go play chase. Go play a makeup game. Go lay in the grass and watch the clouds float by. Whatever it looks like in your family, the love that you share with them literally creates changes in the brain. Powerful, powerful changes. So with that, much love to you guys. In any given moment, we can act out of our blueprints of stress and fear and overwhelm. We can take 1 to 2 to 3 deep breaths, and we can choose love. Much love to you guys. Have a blessed evening. We'll see you all tomorrow.